On tonight's show, we have the author of the new book, Undercity, Monte Schulz. And now for your host, KoolKard. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Kickin with KoolKard Show. I am your host, KoolKard, and tonight we have another one. You know, I'm always kicking it with someone cool. I thank you guys for tuning in each and every week, whether you catch it live, you catch it on the replay. We are here dropping gems, giving you the game, just bringing great people on to talk about all the great things that they're doing out here in the universe. Tonight, I have an author. He is the author of the new book, Undercity. He goes by the name of Monte Schulz. This man is accredited, acclaimed. He is really out here perfecting his craft, and he's been doing it for a long time. So we're gonna definitely promote his new book. You're gonna talk about it, and I'll let him get into it. Let me just be quiet. I'll let him explain. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this interview, guys. Let's get ready to kick it. Let's go. Mr. Monte Schulz, how you doing tonight, sir?
Very good. Thank you very much. Hope you're doing well, too.
I am doing well. I'm doing fantastic. Can't complain. Happy to be here with you. A little bit about the show. This is not a gossip show. I don't ask personal questions. We're here to celebrate you and everything that you're doing and promote your new book. Talk about that. And I also like to humanize the conversation, though. So it's not all about you being an author. It's not all about you just writing great books. We want to get to know the man. We want to get to know Monte. So I like to humanize it just a little bit, take it back, and kind of give us a little background, a little history, as much as you would like. Like I said, it's not a gossip show. Don't ask any personal questions like that. But yeah, want to take it there. But before we go any further, I do like to pray before every conversation. Are you okay with that?
Sure. Go ahead.
Cool. Heavenly Father, Lord Jesus, we just want to thank you for this time and this place, for this moment, just for allowing Monte to grant us his time, Heavenly Father, Lord Jesus, and his energy, and just put his books on display, Heavenly Father, Lord Jesus, his talents, Lord Jesus. We just thank you for just waking us up this morning. We just thank you for covering us for life, love, and family, and happiness, and joy, and peace of mind, Lord Jesus. We just want to give you all the victory, all the glory, all the love, all the praise. In your name we pray. Amen. Yes. So, all right, got that out the way. And so yeah, man, I kind of want to take it back. Like, I'm just meeting you. I've read a lot about you. My audience may not know of you. You've been writing for a very long time. You got a new book out called Undercity. But I want to kind of get to know the man behind all of the magic. Can you give us a little rundown, a little background history? Like, how did you become a writer? How did you get the love for it? All that good stuff.
I was really interested in sports and history when I was a teenager. And I didn't really read literary fiction. I did read Ray Bradbury. I read science fiction stuff. And I don't know, then I was my first year in college, I suddenly got interested in music and then writing song lyrics. And then from there, my dad saw that I had a sort of gift for lyrical prose, and he directed me to the poet Carl Sandburg, and then writers Joan Didion, Truman Capote, and those. And I became more interested in that, and John Steinbeck, people like that, Thomas Wolfe, than I did in music. So I started writing, and what's interesting is the books I write now, I don't think I would have read when I was 19, 20 years old. It's just so different. My whole sensibility about writing is different now. But my dad was really happy that I became a writer. He wrote the Peanuts, Snoopy, Charlie Brown, and
Okay.
he liked reading. And he waited his whole life, he said, to talk to his son, meaning me, because my brother didn't read that much about books. And so that's finally what happened, where I could recommend books to him. So
Wow.
he was a reader and literary writing. I read commercial fiction and literary writing.
Okay.
So I read a lot of different things, and my writing, I think, shows it. So anyway, is that right? Is that a good background for me?
Yeah,
It's hard to,
absolutely,
it's, I
absolutely.
mean,
Did you
summarize.
ever have the opportunity to write with your father, to work with your father, or anything like that?
We did a show years ago called The Girl in the Red Truck. And he was supposed to write the screenplay, but it wasn't really the kind of writing he does. So he brought me in to help. And that was actually really early in my writing career, literary writing. So I guess the screenplay was okay. I had a couple sort of speeches that one of the characters gave. I thought that was decent, but I wasn't overly impressed with my own writing, but Dad also he had some books where he was asked to write, a couple paragraphs about this or that, and he didn't. Since he wrote in those 4 panels, he wasn't used to writing longer form. But so I would help him, and I also contributed essays in a couple books about him or that he was in.
Mm.
So that's really the only sort of collaboration. But on the other hand, book I published, I think in 2016, a long book set in the spring, summer, and fall of 1929, was something that he read the first draft before the epilogue was finished, and then he died. So he never saw any of my better. He saw my first novel, Down by the River, published, but he didn't see any of the other literary novels, the bigger ones, published. So I'm sad about that, but that's how life goes sometimes.
So yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry to hear that too, man. Um, Down by the River, that was your first
Yeah,
one that you
yeah.
kind of promoted and put out there. Like, what did that do for you? How did that catapult you? Did that shift things for you? Did it make some discoveries?
Uh, yeah, well, I don't know if it didn't springboard me anywhere. I'll tell you, it's just it's hard to sell books. I mean, I thought it was a good book. There are a couple books that came out that year that I thought were better. Amy Tan had The Joy Luck Club, and another writer I knew, J.F. Friedman, had Against the Wind, sort of a crime novel, and I liked both those books better than Down by the River. Although years later, I kind of appreciated that. But then I had 2 book ideas: a commercial novel, and then this big literary novel that I called Crossing Eden. And I asked a few people like what I should write, and they said, you didn't seem interested in genre fiction, commercial fiction, so I think you should write what interests you. So I wrote that book, and it took me 12 years to write 1,086 pages book. But
Wow,
I think it's a very, very great book, and it was a greater book than those 2 books I mentioned beforehand. So I think I made a good leap. I think I did what I'm supposed to do, and it can't be about sales. It has to be about the artistic achievement.
for
Uh,
sure.
you you just can't measure art by the commercial success. It's a losing proposition.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, if you do it for that, it's not gonna work out well. Yeah,
Right, right.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So Metropolis. Let's fast forward to that. Was that kind of like
Yeah.
the one that took off for you?
Well, I don't think if you're talking about sales, I don't think any of the books
No,
took
no, I'm not
off.
talking about sales. It's just like
No, no,
I feel.
it was a weird book. Okay, so when I found the old files on one of my my laptop computers, and the save file was in 2001, and the
Mhm.
most recent one was 2003, and that's before I finished publishing that 1920s 1929 novel, Crossing Eden, and breaking. It was before that.
Mm.
So, and I'd written about 50 pages, and with a couple other little vignettes or whatever, and then I quit because I couldn't figure out how a college student could be reading the Greeks and the Romans in a fictional republic. The book is about eugenics and what happens to a society who decides to just get rid of all the people they think are stupid, feeble-minded,
Yeah.
infirm, whatever you name it, they don't like them. So um, and I couldn't figure out where it was taking place. So I gave it up for 16 years. And then in the spring of 2019, or in the summer, I picked it up again because another writing project I was working on kind of stalled. And I picked it up exactly where I'd stopped it in 2003 and wrote the rest of the novel, the rest 620 pages. It ends up being 668 pages. I wrote the next 620 pages in 9 months. And it's
Wow.
just really easy to write. And it was out of that book that Undercity appeared, because Undercity is sort of it's not really a true sequel, but it's a companion to it. another view of this whole republic and what happens to a society who decides to just eradicate the people they just don't like. And both books were really easy to write. So in that sense, yeah, it was sort of Metropolis was a springboard into itself and to Undercity,
Yeah.
which I'm very proud of. I think they're really great books. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm proud of them. Let's just say that.
And I asked that in the sense of when I was doing my research on you, I saw a lot about Metropolis, so I'm like, okay, so that might have been the one that kind of like got the fanfare and people talking or whatever. So that's what I meant by that, not the sales and all
Y-
that. I get it.
Yeah, I don't really know. It's hard to get a book out into the mainstream of literary, attention. It just is. It's just so like the writer Cormac McCarthy, who died last year. He wrote All the Pretty Horses. They made a movie of it, and then they did The Road, whatever. But his first, as I understand it, his first four books never sold any more than 2,000 copies.
Mm,
And so, but he continued to write because that's what writers do.
yeah.
And Faulkner didn't sell at the time. Faulkner died, or at the time of the, let's say, the when he won the Nobel Prize for Literature. I think, as I understand it, all his books were out of print. The Great Gatsby was considered a failure at the time, and Fitzgerald died imagining that book was a failure. You can't really gauge it. I think Crossing Eden, again, my 20s novel, was a really stupendously great book and got zero attention because that's just how it is. And then you read reviews of these books they're sort of just average, nothing super special about them, and the people are raving about the writing and everything. It's like, wow, really? That book is not. It's okay. Nothing wrong with the writing. Not great. So I just don't. I don't know how it really works, to be honest.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you,
Um,
like, how does it work? If it's kind of like a shot in the dark, and it's like if you get somebody who has some say to push it out there and get the review, like, I don't know, like, how does it work? Who knows, right?
I don't know. I don't know. I read a really great review of Undercity a few days ago. Really great review. But I read it and I just kind of wondered, like, did the reviewer read the whole book? And the only reason I say that is nothing specific was mentioned in the review, like no name of any characters, no specific events in it. I'm really grateful for the review, but I just don't know, what how much they actually read it.
Yeah,
So, but I don't know. I can't really think about that. I have to be content with the books on the shelf because the bottom line is after the book is published and after the sales, whatever they are, and after the money's been spent and after all the reviews, you're left with a book that's on the bookshelf, and you have to be proud of it. And I've seen many books that did really well and made a lot of money for the authors I would not want to have written. I wouldn't want those books on the shelf because you have to be proud of the book artistically. These books that I've been writing, I think, are really, really great books. Where you say it's a great book. Oh, how can you say that? Well, you tell me what you think is a great book, and we'll put the books we'll just throw them down on the table and see which one is better, which command of language. My dad would be totally proud of the books I've written, and that kind of would mean the most to me.
yeah.
And I'm proud of them. But it's hard to get people to read them. I don't think my family's read any of my books. My mom never did. My mom never.
Hey.
I guess she did, but she never told me she did. And since she
Yeah,
died a couple of years ago, so I was never really. I was under the impression she never read my books. Then I found out from a woman who was working with her that, oh yeah, we read them together. Well, she never told me. She didn't.
yeah.
No, she never told me. So
It's a
I don't
mystery.
know. What can you do?
It's a
You do a book sign.
mystery,
You do a
man.
book signing, and nobody shows up. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't
Listen,
know.
it's a
Yeah.
mystery with family though. With anything you do, honestly, it's like they show support, but then you don't know if they engage in what you're
Right.
doing. You know what I mean? And if
Yeah.
they do, they don't really tell you. And then maybe some years down the line, they're like, "Oh yeah, I read that book. I loved it." Like you, but you would never know,
Yeah.
right? It just comes out the
I
blue.
know, I know, I know.
So
The flip side is when you get like I have a friend who read claims she read Crossing Eden and then that she read Metropolis, but as I said, Crossing Eden is 1,086 pages, and Metropolis is like 668. And I asked, so what'd you think? She was, I liked it. Well, you know,
That's
she
very
I could have she could have heard a 3-minute song I wrote and said I like it. It's like you just have not you have nothing to say about it,
right.
which leads me to believe that even if theoretically her eyes were on every page, she didn't know anything about the book. She couldn't have
Yeah,
told me any details about it because I really believe she just skimmed it. So I don't. But what do you do? People, it's like you have an audience, but your audience is you can have a great show, but your audience is not 50 million people,
yeah,
right? And
exactly.
you wonder
Yeah,
how do you make it bigger? Well, you know yourself. In a way, you can't. You can you just you do what you do. You do the best work you can, and then you can hope for commercial success. But you better hope for artistic success. You better hope that the shows you do are really good shows, and
absolutely.
just stand on that, right?
Yep.
Just stand on that.
That's why I have
So
people
that's
like
what.
you on, man. You know, and that's the God.
Yeah,
No, I'm
yeah.
being serious. Like it's the God honest
Uh,
truth. Like people who are really doing what others aspire to do and be. You know, and it may look easy, but it could be hard, right? But you're here to tell that story. You're here to tell the background, the BTS of it all. Like, okay, this is what it is. Like, because like a lot of my shows, like we probably won't get into it tonight, but I will ask like I'll ask questions to like help other people, right? Like, hey,
right.
how did you get published or blah blah blah, But I've asked that several times, and I've had other writers and things like that. So I won't ask you all that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
all I'm saying is,
yeah.
I try to get information from the horse's mouth. I try to get information from people who are really doing it because you get a lot of people that are online, social media. They're all pretending to do it, and they're making money by people just signing up to get information that they're probably grabbing from ChatGPT and handing it over. You know what I mean? Like they're not really doing it. So
Mm.
I bring people like you on for that fulfillment, for that knowledge that people can get free of charge. You know,
Right, right,
so that's
right.
just what it's all about. I have a question for you because this is
Yes.
this is this is kind of, I won't say it's weird because that's just how the universe works. I've
Yeah.
always had I've always had what's the word I'm looking for? I always had, I'll just say, an interest. I always had an interest in knowing more about the Holocaust. And
Yeah.
it's very fitting that you pop up, opportunity to interview you, and your books are kind of sort of about that, eugenics and
Exactly.
so it's crazy. And what's even crazier, and I don't want to say crazy, but what's even more fitting is that just this past weekend I finally was able to go to DC and visit the Holocaust Museum.
Right.
And I booked you on Friday, and I see your books, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
wow, wow, this is what it is, right? So my question to you is though, what is your fascination with eugenics and things of that nature, or what you're interested in, and how did you decide that this is what I want to write about? And then we can get into the book.
I yeah, I after I finished the novels that Crossing India is made up of 3 novels that are interwoven and just regular people and just living their lives in 1929 just before the crash. I decided I wanted to write a book about war. And so I had to have a topic for this war, and I was also interested in eugenics. And then at the time, coincidentally, I bought and read parts of a book called War Against the Weak by I think his name is Edwin Black. It's a really good book about how eugenics was started, invented by a guy named Francis J. Galton from Britain, and the idea was to mate the best people and to create the best society, educate them. And we kind of have that with, STEM programs and all, putting kids in the best classes and everything. That's kind of a form of eugenics because the people who are not determined to be great are left out of those classes.
Right.
And just also the last festival of eugenics would be, say, I think it was California was the last state, but I don't know, laws forbidding Down syndrome people to have children. That is eugenics.
Wait, what?
So
That's a law?
it was. I don't think it is anymore, but it was. Oh, sure. There are a lot of examples of that. There
Oh,
were at the
wow.
time. And what's interesting is that when then eugenics came to the United States, see, the British wanted to develop the best people. United States, when it comes us being us, decided first of all to get rid of the worst people. And we're not talking about blacks and Jews and whatever like that. I mean, it could get there, but it was like mountain people. people they thought were kind of degenerates, and so they wanted to get rid of those. And ultimately, they're like wanted to get rid of like 14 million people in America. And then, of course, they're searching for information everywhere from census bureaus and all that. But eugenics was also taught in high schools and universities, and proponents of it was Winston Churchill and Margaret Sanger and Henry Ford. People thought it was the greatest thing ever, but it ended, as you know, in Auschwitz, where we saw what could happen if it turns. And in fact, the second in command, or in the hierarchy in the German eugenics, was Dr. Josef Mengele, right, the Angel of Auschwitz. So it actually was the U.S. Census Bureau that blocked eugenics in America. But anyway, so in my book was what happens if a society embraces that. And so in Metropolis, and then we hear about it in Undercity, where they decided that they couldn't just say people were feeble-minded or infirm or sociopathic or whatever, criminals and layabouts. They said so they developed this this thing, some bug they called spiriosis, and so they started running people through testing chambers, and they end up essentially deporting 1 million people, sent them off into the hinterlands of the East, hoping they'd all die. And then they decided they want the land back, and then the people fought, and it ends up with an endless war, 60 years of mayhem and slaughter. Countless millions of people died, and so that's really what the book is about. A parallel would be Nazi Germany in the, let's say, the 30s and 40s, where you have people going to death camps, and people being rounded up, right, and shot and whatnot, all those terrible things you can imagine.
Yeah.
But simultaneously, the war in the Soviet Union. In my book, I call it the war is called the desolation, that era of the desolation. But Soviet Union, I mean, it was the Nazis killed 25 million people there. I mean, to put in perspective, United States in 2 theaters lost about 450,000 people. The Soviets lost 25 million. But conversely, the Soviets killed 3/4 of the German army. So it was just an endless slaughter. It was a terrible thing. And so I wanted to write a book sort of in those, in that sort of background. And so I like it. Although it seems grim in Undercity, my publicist was saying, "Is there anything happy in it at the end?" I go. She goes, "But don't tell me." She said, "It just seems so grim. There has to be something, but don't tell me." Okay, so it does have it has a very appropriate and good and hopeful ending, just like Metropolis did. But Undercity is a fulfillment of it. So societies do survive, right?
Yeah.
Germany and Japan had to be destroyed in order to have a rebirth. And so I'm not saying that our country today should be destroyed, but we're in a very bad moment, I think. And so people read Metropolis and read Undercity, and they say, "Wow, it's just like Trump." And it's like, well, I didn't really think of Trump when I was writing it. Metropolis, I started in 2003, right? So I don't even remember who was president then. That was a long time ago. So I conceived the thing outside of current events. It's just that current events caught up with the book. And Undercity I wrote during the Biden administration, so the Trump effect really was not there. It just ends up being very prominent if you read it like that.
I want you to, can you break down these visuals on the cover of this book here? Because I was looking at it, and I mean, it's
for Undercity, yeah. Okay,
yeah,
so
break
that's
that.
from a painting. Okay, it's a painting. It's part of a triptych by Hieronymus Bosch from I believe the 16th century. And so that part of it, so triptych means there's 3 panels of it, and that's the 3rd panel. The whole thing was called the Garden of Earthly Delights. That's what you'll see at the end of the book. But that's I guess that part was entitled Hell. And it's just you read the book and you'll see it's actually a really good, it's a really good cover for the book. Lots of things going on in the Undercity. And the Undercity, I don't know how much you had to look at it, but it's like it has one through line story, but which is a pickup from Metropolis, but with different characters, but with one character who was carryover. But the rest of the book is full of different voices. So the thief, the seamstress, the policeman, the soldier, the orphan, the physician, the cleric, all talking about that world, their opinion, and it all happens at their stories are all at different times, and none of them are actually in the present. So you kind of know what happens to some people that are mentioned there, and it's just yeah. So if you see that cover. And you imagine those are all little stories going on between some of the characters. That's kind of what Undercity is like, I think. And it has one at the end, which is really interesting, I think, because we're always talking about AI. Is AI is going to kill us and everything. But there's a story at the end of Undercity. You can actually go to it and read it yourself. It's called The Perfect Man. And it's about 20 pages, and you can read it right near the end. And it's a different view of what AI could be. So I guess a robot, but looks like us and smart guy and
Yeah.
not evil. Okay, so it just shows that there are different ways to look at the world. Anyhow, I
And
think is
it's
that
this.
the answer?
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. I was just looking at this. I was intrigued by this
Yeah, yeah.
character. Like, I need you to
Ronimus Bosch.
explain this for me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Now,
yeah,
this book
yeah.
is on
Well,
pre-order right now on Amazon. Is that correct? You haven't launched it?
yeah, yeah, because it is well, it was supposed to be published February 3rd, but we had an issue with getting the right paper to match Metropolis, and so it got delayed to March 31st, which
Right.
killed a whole bunch of book signings I had lined up. But that's just kind of how it works.
Oh,
So March 31st, so I guess you can pre-order on Amazon or from the website undercitythebook.com.
okay.
There's metropolisthebook.com and there's undercitythebook.com, and they're really good websites. They're really fun to read. A whole bunch of quotes from the book, pictures, images, a sort of an idea of what the characters might look like.
Yeah, I was looking at it.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a really good it's a good website. A lot of quotes. So quotes are all from the book, and I think yeah, what does it say? The beast is a quote. The beast in us is often elusive and hard to name. Some of us hide it too well. So yeah. This is interesting too. The beauty follows wealth, because the title of the book, Undercity, could also be, as I was writing the book, I thought it can also be called Underground, or the underclass. So beauty follows wealth. The best people inhabit the best homes and neighborhoods. Who names them the best? They do. And who names the least among us? The best again. So as we know that in our society, that's kind of how it is. We have classes, and we shouldn't have classes in this country, but we do, unfortunately. And
Fortunately.
we name the people we don't like, right? So now we round people up. And there's a one of the characters in the book, one of the vignettes is called the policeman. And in the second chapter of his, there's just two of them. They're at the end, they're rounding people up, and we don't know why these people are being rounded up. But they're being taken to slag pits and all shot. So it's just kind of how things are. I mean, with ICE and how we treat people in this country, and how we just despise people. We
Yeah.
just do. I mean, think of the so we lost Jesse Jackson today, and a great voice, a counter voice in American culture,
I
and he's a hero to some and a villain to others. But his voice in America is very important, and every society needs somebody like that. Needs somebody who's out there in the town square saying things perhaps that people don't want to hear, but
yeah.
need to hear. So that's what this book is about too. A lot of voices talking about how society should be, how we should live in our best costumes, right? In our best moment.
Who's your favorite character? Do you have one?
Um,
And why?
I guess the main narrator. Well, I really like The Perfect Man, but that's a pretty short vignette. I like the main character of it, who opens the book, Marco Granell, because he has had a really terrible life, has done terrible things, but has a self-reflective capability that lets him realize there has to be a better way. But when you're chased, let's say if you're a kind of a ragamuffin kid in Nazi Germany in the 40s, you have Gestapo and secret police all hunting you all the time. You have to kill to survive. He ultimately doesn't like having done that. And at the end, he doesn't need to do it anymore. But looking for love, looking for compassion. I do like, he's a flawed character. He's not a perfect person, but if he were a better person, he would not have survived. So I do like him a lot. in Undercity. Yeah, Marco Grinnell.
Okay. Is there going to be a trilogy? I know it took you. You said you wrote this one pretty quickly, but the first one took you a while. Is there going to be a trilogy to this?
Uh, I hope not. I don't know what I would write. I mean, no, it's easy to write. Seriously, it was really easy to write, but like Undercity was easier than Metropolis in some ways. But I don't know. I mean, I think the story has a good round to it. I could conceive of another part, but it just seems like it would. I need to write something different. I just do. I think this. I think Metropolis. I know we talk about trilogies, but not everything has to be a trilogy. Some of the books are just they're companions to each other,
Yeah.
and it's so Undercity is kind of a sequel only because Marco was in both books. But beyond that, because the narrator for Metropolis is Julian Bream, a college senior, and he meets Marco, at different times in Metropolis. But then the main narrator of Undercity is Marco, so he carries over, and we just his world is different from Julian's, and I think it's good to see the comparison of the two. So I think that's sort of it, because I just don't know what else. I don't know what needs to be written beyond Undercity. I just think the story's told. Just is.
Kind of caps it off, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What do you, okay, so genre wise, what are you feeling? Do you feel anything right now, or how does a book come to you? Like, how do you know you're gonna what you're gonna write next? How does that work?
Uh,
What's
well, again,
process?
Metropolis, I just wanted to write a book about war and eugenics, a society just destroyed by eugenics.
Uh-oh.
Germany embraced the idea of eugenics, going after gypsies and Jehovah's Witnesses and homosexuals, and then Jews, and then people from Eastern Europe. They want to kill them all. They would have killed everyone in the Soviet Union if they could have. So I wanted to write a book about that, parallel to it.
Yeah.
And then I just carried it over in Undercity. It's just an idea. I started with an idea and sort of ran with it. Ran with it for a total. I think I worked on both books totally about 5 or 6 years. But they're both actually pretty easy to write. So I don't know. Like right now, I don't know what I would write. I have a couple ideas, but nothing is really clear. And of course, since I'm doing publicity for Undercity and seeing it through to publication, and then afterward do some book signings or whatever, and then I don't know, maybe I'll think of something else. I'm not really sure. It's a literary novel, so that's what I wanted to write. I thought it would be commercial, but turns out it hasn't. Metropolis, but it hasn't been. Maybe Undercity. I don't know. I don't know. I always thought Metropolis is easier to read than Undercity, but my publicist said she thinks Undercity is easier. It just depends how you view the book, I guess.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So, all right. I got a couple more questions for you before we wrap it up.
Okay.
Well, before
Yep.
hold on. Yeah, let me ask you these. So, what's one thing that you feel that you could be doing more of or better to get you to wherever you desire to be in life or in business or whatever? Self-analysis.
Well, okay. Well, I could be a more energetic person. Okay, I could have written faster, but I don't want to bring writing into it. I wrote these books.
Uh-oh, I think it's cutting you off.
I wanted to. Well, I got a new girlfriend, and
Okay.
she moved in with me about 2 months ago, and as the first person who's lived with me in 10 and a half years. So that makes a difference. Maybe it's been more important to me. I do think it's important to be a good person. Okay, it sounds very facile and very obvious, but I don't think people really care about that. When you talk about being, a good in business, I'm not really a businessman at all, but
Yeah.
some people find that to be the highest calling. Although I have to tell you, at the turn of the last century, businessmen were not well thought of. It just seemed like a very low way of manipulating money, and as though money were the end game. And we judge people, especially in America, we judge people by how much money they make. You see it all the time. What's he worth? What's he
Yeah.
worth? Well, I mean, his bank account. What does that mean?
Yeah, what is
So
it?
the money in the bank makes that person an exalted being, because they have like $50 million. We're jealous of everybody in America, there's this little story about an interview of an old Soviet hockey player. This is after the fall of the Iron Curtain, and the interviewer was asking this old Soviet guy. He goes, how do you feel? I mean, when you played for the Soviet Union in the '60s, you didn't have much money, and you lived in sort of small apartments outside Moscow, and now you see these young Russians going to America and making millions of dollars. I mean, how do you feel about that? And he had a great line that people should think about America. He goes, I have never believed in counting another man's money. And that's a really good way to think about how to live, and looking at people with envious eyes,
Yeah,
because we are always envious of people. We're always
that would
jealous of.
eliminate a lot of depression in the United States.
Yeah, don't you think? Yeah, I've
It
never believed in
would,
counting another man's
because
money, right?
everybody's comparing themselves to what everybody else has all the
Yeah,
time,
a
and
huge mistake,
it's
huge mistake.
crazy. Like, just be
Yeah,
happy, man. And your life is
yeah,
not theirs is not yours. You don't know what they did to get it. You know,
yeah.
they might not have been
Sometimes you don't want to know.
to get
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly, exactly. And they might not have been a good person to get it. You know what I mean? So it is what
yeah.
it is.
That cannot be the calling card to
No.
somebody's self-worth, and nobody seems to care about being a good member of society. There's so much cheating, there's so much lying, there's so much deception, there's so much we can say racism, there's so much misogyny. It's like in America, you feel like everybody hates each other,
Yeah.
and because not everybody can be rich. But you have to value people for what they do, what they contribute to society, more than how much they're earning.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I feel about that.
Oh, I love it. I love the answer. So my final question to you is, and I've been doing this my last couple episodes, has nothing to do with anything. I
Yeah.
need to know the Beatles or Rolling Stones.
Okay. Well, all right. So that's okay. So
Take
the,
your
the
pick.
answer to that is so the Beatles were better singers. Okay. Even Mick Jagger said Ringo sings better than we do. Okay. Um, I think um, the Beatles wrote a greater variety of music. In John Lennon's book, Lennon Remembers, he talks about how he thought the Rolling Stones copied the Beatles on every turn. So Beatles had Let It Be, the Stones came out with Let It Bleed. The Beatles did Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. The Stones did their Satanic Majesty's Request. I think it's hard to compare them because the Beatles disbanded in essentially 1970, right? So they're the biggest band in the world. They're the biggest act. Those guys are treated like gods, even by the Stones. Envy them. And then the Stones have had a tremendous career, right? Lasting, and watching them. There's a little video I saw, their official video of "Gimme Shelter," and I don't remember who the black woman is singing, but she's fantastic. Like what was it? Who sang on the record? I can't remember. Mary something. She was great. So anyway, they're a great performing band, but you can't compare them because the
No,
Beatles
no
only performed for like
comparison.
6 years,
No
right?
comparison. I just need
No,
your answer. Which one
well,
do you prefer?
okay, okay. Okay. I prefer, for the songwriting, for the music, the Beatles. For performing, I prefer the Rolling Stones
Okay.
because the half the Beatles are dead. So I don't know. I don't think they're performing that well anymore. That's the
All right.
answer. Okay.
All right, I'll take it. I'll take it. You got both. You got both in on me. So
Thank you.
before we get out of here, just promote the book
Yeah.
one more time. Let everybody know where they can pick it up. I saw it for pre-sale. I think it said February 24th on Amazon. You can correct me if
Yeah.
I'm wrong, but
I don't
go ahead.
know.
You don't know?
I don't
Okay.
know. I just know it's published. It'll be published on March 31st, and so as far as pre-sales, it's probably possible even now. You just pre-order it, and then on March 31st, whenever it becomes available, maybe you get it even a week or two earlier. I don't
Okay.
really know. I can't really follow that. I just write I just write the book, okay, and then hope people buy it or read it. And if they don't, I guess if I have a choice, choice, which I'd rather them have, read it or buy it, I'd say I guess read it. Borrow it from somebody and read it. Okay. I don't want people. I guess it'd be great if they buy it, but a million people are not going to buy this book anyway.
An
So I
artist,
should forget.
an artist
Yeah.
wants his work seen, read, heard.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. So that's
absolutely.
how it is. Yeah. So undercitythebook.com, metropolisthebook.com. You can buy both those books off those websites. So visit those and see them. It's
Definitely go
actually
to the
really fun. As I
website,
said,
guys, because the websites are an experience. I was just on
yeah, yeah.
websites are an experience. They really are. So
Yeah,
yeah.
they're cool. I like them. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for having me on here, by the way. It was a really great conversation. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely, man. Love having you. Had to have you on here, and yeah, really appreciate the conversation. I'll be supporting you. I followed you on Instagram. I don't know if you're on there much, but I do support. You know, if you post anything, whatever about your book, I'll help you promote it, repost it, all that good stuff. I'm good about that. Yeah, man, and I'll be praying for you. Just continue doing
Thank
what
you.
you're doing, and I'll be on the lookout for your next book.
Okay, thank you very much. All right. Have a good evening.
All
Okay.
right, you
Yeah.
too. Hey guys, thank you guys for tuning in. You know where I'm at every Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here kicking it with someone cool like Monte Schulz, guys. All right, until next time, we are out of here. Thanks for kicking it. Peace and love, Monte. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
All righty.